Hello, we're here for more Ambassador Notes. I'm Duane.
And I'm Sharon.
So, we are approaching the time of the year that is called Ramadan. Ramadan, for Muslims, according to their tradition, is a celebration of when God first started, or Allah first started to reveal the Quran to Muslims.
And there are some practical things that you can do to interact with your Muslim friends during this time. The first one is wishing them a pleasant Ramadan. And there are two things you can say. You can either say Ramadan Mubarak, or you can say Ramadan Kareem, Ramadan Kareem.
Now, some Christians don't feel comfortable saying this because they don't want to validate it. We don't actually, of course, agree that, Muhammad received genuine revelations from God. But there are a lot of other things you can say if you don't feel like saying Ramadan Kareem or Ramadan Mubarak. On the other hand, for a lot of Christians, it's just like saying Happy Hanukkah to a Jewish colleague. You're not saying that you believe in everything associated with that, but it is saying, I know that this is an important time of the year for you, and I hope you have a nice time. During Ramadan, people usually fast during the day from sunup to sundown. So that seems like a very kind of somber period, but really it's also a time of a lot of rejoicing because they will break the feast together or break the fast together every evening, and it's a time for hanging out with family and maybe seeing friends that you haven't seen in a long time. So it's, even though it seems like a very somber time of the year, for many Muslims it's a very joyful and happy time.
So, what are some other things that you can say to your Muslim friends, colleagues, neighbors during this month of Ramadan? First of all, you can ask them about the holiday. Just saying, "How is your Ramadan going?" or um, "How can I pray for you during Ramadan?" works really well.
Another thing that a colleague of mine said that I really liked is she said, I pray that God will reveal himself to you during this Ramadan, which is clearly a very true thing. And we would be praying that people would know God, whether Muslims or otherwise, in a more deep and a more profound way, or if they don't know God at all, that they would begin to know God. So that's also a very positive thing to say. Now, if you have Muslim friends and you get to know them, you can also ask them about fasting and compare what they know about fasting or how they practice fasting with what Scripture says about fasting. There's actually a lot of material on fasting in the Bible, so that could be a Bible study that maybe you could do to learn how they're similar, but also how they're different traditions. Now, Sharon, what if somebody invites you over to break the Ramadan fast? What
That
are
is
some,
that is a great
and we'll
question.
close with this, just some basic pointers on how not to make a mistake.
So one of the things that might happen is especially if you have a friendship with a Muslim, is they might invite you to iftar. Iftar is the breaking of the fast that Muslims have during Ramadan, that begins at sundown. Now, different cultures have different ways of breaking this fast, different ways of celebrating, different foods they have. So I'm not going to try to hit on each of those because we just don't have enough time. But I would say that mainly go as an observer. Make sure you watch what everybody's doing around you. Sometimes you can offer to bring something. I've brought food before. I would stick with either a vegetarian dish or a dessert, because Muslims have some things with the proper slaughtering of animals, and some of them will only eat what's called halal meat. So just to avoid a problem with that, you can offer to bring something vegetarian or dessert, to contribute to the feast.
Good. So use this time of Ramadan and other Muslim holy days, if you're not during this time of the year, to begin conversations, to open ways of communicating, of sharing your faith with your Muslim colleagues and friends, but also learning more about them and their life and their culture. It's a great way to show people that you respect them and that you genuinely care about them. And if you do that, they're much more likely to hear what you have to say about what it means to know God in Jesus Christ. God bless you all.